That joke isn't funny anymore. Available on Amazon and everywhere. Hey guys, welcome back to the Lou Perez podcast on the Lions of Liberty Network. I'm your host, Lou Perez, and today I'm so happy to be joined by an old friend of mine. He's the host of The Sharpe Way, Mr. Larry Sharpe.
It is true, and Sharpe Way is with an E. The E makes it special. Without the E, what value would it have? The E is what makes it special.
You know, right from the start, once Larry was born, like they were already thinking about marketing. They were already thinking of branding. They're like, how are we going to brand this kid to do it so perfectly?
This is a true story, though. I wasn't always the most popular Larry Sharpe. There was a wrestler from the 70s called Pretty Boy Larry Sharpe. He used to actually, I'm not joking, and that wasn't his name. He made his name Larry Sharpe. Like, why would you make your name Larry Sharpe? He was actually like Larry Wheel or something like that. He was like, I'm going to change my name when I wrestle to Larry Sharpe because that's a way better name. Now, good for me, sad for him. He passed away in 2018. And when he died in 2018, I became the most popular Larry Sharpe in the country. So rest in peace, Larry Wheel / Sharpe. The king is here.
Well, Larry, I think you played the long game. You're like, you know what? I'm going to wait this guy out. I'm going to see.
Correct. Yes.
Well, it happens to me because apparently there's a Lou Perez who is a wrestler, like I think out of Florida. So sometimes when you look up my name, a picture of this gigantic wrestler will come up, and people will be like, "Oh, you're a lot smaller than I thought." They're pulling out like
working out, Lou. You're working out.
They're pulling out quotes from Roadhouse, like, "I thought you'd be bigger," and all that. And I have no idea if that guy's alive, and I don't want to anger him.
I would be quiet. He might come see you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I wanted to start off by asking you for some advice. Not advice. I have a problem I want you to take care of.
Okay.
My 3-year-old doesn't want to wear pants.
Mm-hmm.
And every single morning, he doesn't want to wear pants. So he wants to pull his pants off and scream and fight about it. And we don't know what to do. So I need to farm out. I need some muscle or something to make sure this dude starts covering his legs.
You have to make it a game.
Okay, yeah, hit me with it. How do we do it?
It's not muscle. You got to make it a game. Remember, kids rebel naturally, right? One of the reasons why my daughters aren't very rebellious is because I don't give them reasons to rebel, right? That's the reason. Not because I'm a great dad. That's not true.
Yeah, definitely not.
That's not true. No, I don't give them much to rebel against. The less rules you have, generally speaking, the more they will comply. And it seems odd, but it's true. So you want to make it a game. And then last thing, you want to give them the benefit for complying. You don't want to punish the bad behavior because that's attention. You want to reward the good behavior. Kids want attention no matter what. It doesn't matter, good or bad. They'll take good. They really want good attention. If they can't get good attention, they'll take bad. So remember, the difference between the opposite of love is not hate, it's apathy, right? Love and hate are actually very close. If you're yelling at your wife, which I know you yell at your wife because that's the kind of guy you are. So if you're yelling, that means you still love her, right? It's when you're ignoring her that you don't love her anymore.
I'm gonna start a separate live stream where it's just me yelling at my wife. I think that's gonna go over really well.
Know you love her.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Now you get it. Finally. No, seriously. If you deal with your little one, you have to take some time as to not fight him, and when he has the pants on, he gets something good, whatever that thing is. When he doesn't, he gets ignored. And when he yells and is ignored, you do the equivalent of, and some people actually do this, you put him in a corner. That could be physically putting him in a corner. That could be in some way ignoring him. But the punishment you must give your son is apathy. That's the punishment. When he puts the pants on, he gets some reward, whether that's praise, whether that's hanging out with dad, whether that's, you finally feed the kid. Or whatever the thing is that you do, right? Whatever is your thing, right? It puts the lotion or it gets the hose, right? That's not what you want to do with your kid, right? You want to say, oh, you put the pants on, you get breakfast, right? Whatever the case may be, right? So that should be your style as you start doing that more and more. It will take time because kids are patient. They will test you. If you would imagine, think about a a kid with a slot machine, right? So if you pull the slot machine down, and every time you pull it, the handle, something different pops up. You don't win, but something different pops up. So it's like 7, apple, cherry, and it keeps changing. If it keeps changing, you keep pulling, right? Oh my God, eventually I'm gonna win. Kids are the same way. So they go, Dad, can I have some candy? You go, no, it's too early. But Dad, I really want some candy. But it's too expensive. But Dad, I want some candy. Yeah, to rot your teeth out. You change the answer 3 times. He keeps asking.
Right.
But if you keep the answer exactly the same, I said no. I said no. I said no. Change nothing, not even a word. Kid stops. Same thing with everything else you do. You cannot change the answer. Same thing. When he realizes that machine doesn't pay off, he stops pulling a lever. So do the same thing with his pants, whatever that is. When he yells or screams or gets mad, whatever. Don't don't engage. And that's the biggest thing. We engage when they're screaming. Do not engage. You must completely ignore them in some way, whatever way you can do it in your home, whatever that is, and don't change your answer until he puts the pants on. Then okay, we're good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
I'm sorry. Was that a joke, or was I supposed to actually
no,
answer that question?
no. I wish that I had talked to you an hour ago because then
There we go. Yes.
that would have helped me. Big ups for Larry for waking up, and we're recording this at 8 a.m. I don't know when the good listener is going to be hearing this, but we
Coffee.
are recording this early. Yes. Um, and reason why we're recording this early is because I'm going back on the road. I'm opening for the great Scott Thompson of the Kids in the Hall, and we
That was
have
a great show, wasn't it?
oh, uh, like they
Totally
have
underrated.
sketches that are, 35, 40 years old that you would be like, "Oh, this could have been made yesterday."
Yep.
That still holds up in so many ways, and, I've always been a huge fan of theirs, and Scott and I became, friends, actually, like, during COVID, so we've been friends for around 5 years, and,
They're
uh
Canadian, right?
yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
I'm probably gonna hold it against them, but I'm gonna try not to.
Well, I know with the stuff going on between our countries, we have to be at war with them. So,
Soon. Well, they gotta give us Greenland or something. I forgot how that works. They've
yeah,
gotta do something that we order them to do. I think they had to, like, kiss Trump's ring, whatever. They must do the thing and bend the knee, whatever is that what it is? Bend the knee? They must
I
do the thing.
yeah, and I know, when it comes to my, military tribunal or whatever, this relationship is gonna be brought up, and they're like, "You
It
were an
is.
opener
Yes.
on
That's
on
right.
the Scott Thompson in Buddy Cole in the Last Glory Hole tour. You were an opener for the Last Glory Hole tour," and that'll be some kind of,
So, Lou,
treason.
you open for the Canadians. I'm gonna ask you, why do you hate our troops?
Yeah,
Why do you hate
exactly.
our troops? Yes.
It's and I'm like, "Whoa, these guys are so funny. They're the best."
I do
So
know it's an underrated show. I completely agree. But congrats on the opening. Good for you, man.
yeah,
How do I get tickets? Did I do a good pitch? How do I get
yeah.
tickets, Lou?
Well, you can go in the, description below. You could also on any bit of social media that I put out, there are, links, to the tickets, and we're all over. We're gonna be in let's see, when this comes out, we're gonna be in Buffalo, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, going up to Toronto. If I any Look, anybody, listening to Freedom Radio right now in Toronto, I don't know if you guys can get this, but I have my people who are, slipping discs. It's not even we're going real, like, 1990s floppy disks, with this information.
You better bring your real ID, or they won't let you back in.
Yeah, yeah, what's it? The real ID? Yeah, I gotta get all that shit together because 'cause I'm leaving, tomorrow. So anyway, I was looking to bank a few episodes, so I could, have those, ready to go out. So Larry is known for saying yes to me, so I
True.
appreciate that. I appreciate
True.
that. Well, with,
And I've regretted it many times, but I never learned my lesson.
yeah, well, you gotta get those tests back from the doctor, so
Eventually. Eventually, yes, eventually.
you'll
We'll
get
see.
around to it. So how are things going, for you in New York? Larry,
Horrible. It's New
you're
York.
still
What are you talking?
fighting.
You
You're
fled.
such a I
You ran
know,
away.
I know,
You
and
knew
I'm
how bad it was.
might head to Canada apparently,
So I'm saying, literally, you ran away, man. I'm sitting in the front line. I'm in the trenches fighting the war. And I'm like, Lou, cover me, Lou, Lou. And that was it. He was gone. That was it. It was the end of it. He bailed on me. So no, you did too. Lots of people bail. I don't know if you know this. I have a little bit of bad news for people who may not know. New York State loses 300,000 people every single year. They just keep running away from us like there's no tomorrow. Last year, New York State took in 200,000 migrants, and we still lost 100,000 people. That's how bad New York State is. It is a disaster, right? Every single year it gets worse. Our budget gets worse. Our service gets worse. Our taxes get worse. Everything gets worse, and people seem to not want to solve anything, right? And the problem is the corruption is so bad. You might go, well, Larry, just vote away or whatever. That's what I get the answer. Just vote differently or something. In New York State, particularly where I live, I don't have any say in my government. And that may sound like hyperbole. It's not. I literally have no say. At the state level, the city level, and the federal level, the Democrats dominate so much
Yeah.
that whoever wins the primary is the winner every time. And there's no open primary. So I cannot vote in the primary unless I'm a registered Democrat. I'm not a registered Democrat. Parties now control everything. In my local area, the Republican Party hasn't even fielded a candidate in 10 years. They don't even put a candidate up anymore. Like there's no candidate. This you'll love this, Lou. The last guy who won at my state level won 99% to 1. That's
99 to 1.
Yes, and 1 was the write-ins. 1% was the write-ins, 99% was what he won. That's Kim Jong-un numbers,
Yeah.
right? That's Stalin numbers. Like, Putin is like, "Damn, well, how do I get them numbers?" Like, he's jealous of my local politicians, the numbers these guys get, because no one runs against them. They just show up, they go Democrats go, "You are now the one we see," as like the Pope, right? They just decided he's the Pope, and he's done. That's how it works. And so I have to just hope there's a good king. By the way, that is at my city level, state level, and federal level. So I have no say. And you might go, Larry, change the rules. As you know, I tried. I ran for governor twice, not
Right.
once, twice. I raised over $1 million, took 2 years out of my life so I could be thrown off the ballot by lawyers and judges. I went to court 8 times, lost all 8 times, even though I spent $500,000 just in like legal fees. Did not matter. The system said, Larry, we're not going to change. Why don't you follow Lou? He lives in a nice neighborhood. Go hang out with him. And they basically just said, go hang out with Lou. So, Lou, I may be your neighbor next week. I'm just saying. Anyway,
Well, I mean, I have a shed, if
there
you
we
want
go.
to,
Hey,
with
I'm
the mi
not picky, brother. I'm not picky.
yeah, with the, I haven't heard much about the migrant situation in New York for a while. I wonder if it's because it's you know, um, the Democrats are, running all their candidates and nobody wants to take any, real responsibility for that. But it's a thing where, sort of in the libertarian world, there's a very, staunch, like, open border people who are like, we want
Oh,
open borders,
yep.
and, um, but then, you hear about, like, migrants being housed in hotels that the money is going towards, I think it was, like, Pakistan or something like that, and
Pakistan owns one of the Roosevelt Hotel here in New York City. That's correct. The Pakistan government, actually, not even just like some Pakistan dude. Like the Pakistani government literally owns the Roosevelt Hotel here. And the Roosevelt Hotel used to be a place where you could actually go and like do an event. You could go there and have
yeah,
like a conference. You can go there and stay there while you hang out in Manhattan and go do some touristy things. That's what it used to be. Well, then the lockdowns came. And the lockdowns came and everything went to hell. And Roosevelt said, I need some money. And the government said, I have an idea. We have a problem. And it's this homelessness problem that really we made far worse by the lockdowns. And we don't want to take any responsibility for all the terrible things we've done. And we want you to stay. How about we put these homeless people in your hotel and we pay you? This way we can grift. You can give us a bunch of money, for donations and such and help us out. And everyone will act like we care about the homeless people. I mean, we don't, but we can pretend like we do. And they went, that's a great idea. And they
yeah,
took the homeless people in. But then what happened was this. Once the homeless people went in there, New York said, well, we're now taking care of homeless people by paying them. Now there's a homeless industrial complex. Everyone, I'm not joking. Now everyone's
no,
making money off this. So why stop? Why solve the problem? We can all make cash off the problem. Let's not do that. But then the migrants came. And the migrants came and the feds walked in. And the Fed and Biden said, hey, guys, I'm Uncle Joe. I know that New York has money for you, but guess what? I have more money. And my money I can make magically from the Fed. So it never goes away ever. The money tree just keeps growing forever, and I'll pay you more. And the Roosevelt Hotel said, oh, really? Yeah. So if you take these migrants, we will pay you more and longer. And the Roosevelt Hotel and others, I'm using Roosevelt because everyone knows them, but there's tons of hotels. They went, oh, that's a great idea. Tell you what, you homeless veteran who we sent over to Iraq and we broke with PTSD and didn't service you at all so well, get out.
Mm.
And they threw the homeless people out of the hotels and put in the migrants. Why? More cash. Now you might go, wow, that sounds terrible. But there were 200,000 migrants. Yes, that's true. Then what also happened? If you noticed, anyone who's run through New York City, all of the local stores are going out of business. The places that are in trouble. We had a big problem. How can they keep making money? Well, the migrants went over there and said, hey, landlord, who you can't put a store in there because the laws and rules and regulations are so terrible and so expensive. Can we go in there instead? Can like me and like 40 of my friends stay in there instead, eat totally illegally? We'll pay you off the books thousands of dollars. And they went, wait a minute. So I can make money, ignore the government, and it's off the books. Yes. Deal. And they started doing that. Now, cops and everyone knew that. And they went, this is happening. And they went, yeah, but see, I'm a landlord and I have like 1,000 units. The average landlord in New York City has over 800 units and has like 20 buildings. That's like the average landlord. It's insane because we crush all small landlords. So most of our landlords are huge. So he said, if you just keep your mouth shut, we'll take some of that money and we'll donate to your people. And they went, oh, grift. Yes, grift. This adds to our migrant industrial complex. Correct. Can you put some homeless people in there too? So we can have a homeless industrial complex? And they went, yes. And that's how New York City survived the homeless and migrant complex. And that's why people started shutting up about it. Why? Because everybody was making money. And you might say, Larry, that sounds insane. Do any homework, and I'm telling the truth. I say this stuff all the time, and people don't yell at me. They don't sue me. They don't put me in court for libel or slant. None of that stuff. Why? Because it's true. In fact, they don't talk about it because they don't want me to be the guy saying how this actually works. If there's a problem, particularly in America, but particularly in New York State, if we can make money off it, we turn it into a complex and then don't solve the problem because everyone's making money off it. So our goal of New York State government is to make money off of suffering. I wish that wasn't true, but it is. And by the way, high taxes too.
Yeah.
Welcome to New York.
Man. Well, I bring up the issue of open borders and libertarians because what I often find is, in particular with the open border side, is that there's a reluctance to call out what is obvious bullshit and grift.
Yep.
The idea that, out of the 200,000 migrants there, they're all seeking refuge. They're all asylum seekers. It's like, come on, man, give me a fucking break. Like,
no.
I agree. And it's almost this, it's this idea of like, look, I can understand, the principle at play and what you're dealing with, but you're also dealing with people, and you know how people are and what people will respond to and what kind of incentives, and just the idea.
So let me grab a couple of pieces of that if I could. Number one, I totally get the concept and the ideology behind. I do. I'm not mad at you for wanting this amazing world of no borders and us holding hands and skipping across the borders, kumbaya with the barefoot and tulips. I love the idea, and I think we should move towards that world. I absolutely agree with the concept, but your point is a valid one. What are we dealing with today in the real world? That's the problem. 200,000 migrants come to my city, and you might say, well, Larry, isn't that a good thing? Well, 99% are good. Let's say that's true. 99% of those people are good people. Okay. That's still 2,000 bad guys I just put into my city.
Yeah.
Right? So even if 99% are good, and I'm okay with that option. 99% of them are great. 1% are bad. I now got 2,000 gangbangers I just put into my city. That's a massive problem I just put in. Number one. Number two, I get the idea you want people to come in, but vetting does matter in some way, shape, or form. You can have vibrant immigration, just vet the people who come in. Right. And I've had this policy, that's one of my policies for literally 7 years now. I was talking about how to vet these people for 7 years. It can be done. And without government intervention, we can do it, but we don't. And that's the problem. The reason why. Why did we bring so many migrants in? It's labor. That's really what it is. People think it's some kind of mistake or something or whatever. No, it isn't. It's grossly simple. It is labor. Labor for two reasons. Number one, 8 million American men have checked out of the system. They've just checked out. They don't wanna have a job, they don't want a girlfriend, they don't want a relationship, they don't want kids, they don't care about society. They have just checked out. It's anywhere between 6 and 10,000,000. I'm saying 8, depends upon who you talk to. Mike Rowe talks about, he says 7,000,000. I don't know what the number is. That's millions of men who have just checked out. And when they check out, well, someone needs labor. Number 2, AI.
Wait,
AI
one
is
second,
taking over a bunch. Go ahead.
Larry, just one sec about, like, the
Yep.
guys who checked out. Like, because I always wonder, like, well, what are they doing, though? Is it
Yep.
are they just working, like, part-time or
Yep.
what are they doing? Yeah.
They're doing 3 to 4 different things. Number 1, they're on the dole. They are in somehow disabled
Mhm.
because since the ADA, is it AD yeah, the ADA from 1990s, since we all of a sudden made that rule, which again, the idea was good. The idea with the law was we wanna help Americans with Disability Act, ADA. We wanted to help out people who were hurt. That sounds great. The intention's wonderful, but then it decided to make any problem disabled. So if I'm overweight, I'm now disabled. Right? And I'll go to have you seen the TV show My 600 Pound Life?
Yeah, clips from yes, yes.
Yeah, so you know what the show is, right?
Uh-huh.
That's like 13 seasons or something, and there's multiple shows, like, it's not just one, and there's, like, My 1,000 Pound Sisterhood, My 1,000,000 Family, and 3,000,000,000 people who have a bazillion-pound kids, whatever. There's, like, spinoffs. Why so many of them? Why'd that happen? Well, Americans are fat. No, the government allows you to be fat.
It's
I don't
another complex. It's a, my
It is.
1,000-pound life complex that they do.
Correct. You think there's 600 pound life complex is a real thing. What I mean by that, at one point when you get so big, you physically can't feed yourself. I'm not joking. You can't have a job. You can't make money to buy the food, right? If you go before 1990, you could not be 600 pounds because you couldn't make enough money to buy the food, to make the food to be that big. You could not. So the government said, no worries. You got really big, we'll pay you to stay home for the food. But wait a minute, Larry, half these people are literally bedridden. They can't go to make the food. We got you. What we'll do is to help you out is if you have a caretaker, note how I keep doing these air quotes, you have a caretaker, we'll pay the caretaker. That's why there's always an enabler. There's an enabler with every person because the person gets paid because they're disabled, and then their friend gets paid to caretake them. So all they do all day is feed each other to make sure that they stay huge, and the government pays both. That is a common thing. Over 60 million people in America get a check from the government every month. Over 60 million. It's getting higher and higher. In New York City, 1 in 4 kids are somehow considered special needs. 1 in 4. Think about that. There's over 1,000,000 kids in New York City school system. This system just it's a complex. I wasn't joking. This is actually a complex. So
And let's be real, like, those kids aren't special, like,
no,
in
my
any
God, I'm
way,
sorry.
in
Not at
any way.
all.
A quarter of those
So
kids are just the lamest kids imaginable.
they're not special at all. So you asked the question. So a bunch of them on disability. That's number 1. Second piece, a bunch of them are on things like unemployment. Third, a lot of them are just doing part-time jobs here. They're doing Uber Eats or they're Ubering or they're doing, little things here or there. They're making money on the internet, doing things on the internet, doing Fiverr jobs. They're doing just enough work to survive. And many of them are actually now rooming together. So now you got 3, 4, 5 guys all living in the same apartment building, in the same apartment. It's cheap. It is
Yeah.
all they're not going out dating, so not spending any money. They're not getting dressed. They're wearing the same clothes. I'm serious. These men are just falling apart. So how in the world can you run this country with 8 million men sitting in their basements once in a while doing Uber Eats and being on disability and watching a TV? How old am I? And watching the internet and YouTube and playing video games all day. That's as long as they can have like a Steam account, they're good. That's all they care about. And so now you need labor. So they bring all these migrants in. But not just that, AI. AI is trashing is trashing um our employment. Well, the average person, like if I'm some guy or gal, and by the way, 80% of the people gonna be affected by AI is gonna be women.
Hmm.
Women are losing jobs left and right. Now, here's another problem. I got women losing jobs now, left and right. Well, what are they gonna look for now? They can't get a job. A man with a job. Well, 8 million men don't have jobs. That's a I mean, this is bad. Like,
Yeah.
this is bad. This is not a good thing. So what do? They bring in migrants. Migrants are gonna do the work that is very hard for AI to pick up. Things like carpentry, things like hospitality, direct service. These are things that AI has trouble doing. Now, when we have the pleasure bots, that will change. But until we get the pleasure bots, we need bodies to do that. So they brought the migrants in, about give or take 10 to 15 million, whatever the number is. We don't even know. They're going to replace those 8 million men who are out of the system. And that's the reason why they brought those people in. And AI is changing everything. Plus the system's being changed in general. College is useless now. You can see the colleges now fighting to be relevant to the best of their ability. Doesn't matter. With AI, you don't even need college anymore. If you're not going to an Ivy League school, if you're not going to a specific school for your degree, or you don't have a direct plan, like I want to be a lawyer, or I want to be an engineer, or I want to be a doctor, you're a sucker to go to college now. It makes no sense. You're just throwing your money away. It's silly. Yes, Larry Sharpe just said you're a sucker for going to college. Yes, unless you have a plan. With a plan, it's good. Without a plan, it's not. And I know the argument I'll get. I'm sorry, I'm yapping away, but you got me going, Lou. So if the argument's going to be, Larry, you don't understand. The stats show that if you go to college, you make more money over your lifetime. Like, okay, over your lifetime, right? Yeah. So that means they check people who live their professional life. Yes, that's true, Larry. So that person was at least 65. Yes. And that's probably 10 years old. Yes. Those people are 75 years old you're checking on. If you're 75 years old, you went to college 55 years ago.
Right.
55 years ago, that was true. In the 70s, that was true. That was right.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, because there weren't that the amount of people, the percentage of people who went to college was much lower.
Correct.
So a couple of things. For one, it is pretty amazing that the argument can be made that with all of these out of work guys living together, just kind of basically, living online, none of them have the desire to commit crime. So then we need to import criminal migrants in to do the crimes that the Americans are too lazy to do.
Someone's got to keep the cops busy. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean,
So, I want to direct you behind me. This is a custom bookcase. It takes up my whole wall, and I love it. Very proud of it. I didn't
does make you look smart, Lou. It does.
Yeah. All these books, those aren't really books. Those are just shapes. They're just shapes to me. Yeah, those are just rectangles to me. But the guy who made it, George, he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be 70 years old. He's a master carpenter.
Yep.
And one of the things that he was telling me about is there's no young guys coming in, to carpentry, and
the average tradesman in New York State is in his 50s, and the average tradesman should be in their 30s. Right. And not just that, the tradesmen in most of these places, the problem is if you're a 50-year-old tradesman, as a general rule, if you go back, say 30 years, 40 years, you didn't always have the hammer in your hand. You were showing the 30-year-old, 20-year-old where to use the hammer, how to use the hammer. You didn't have the hammer in your hand. You were teaching someone else how to use the hammer. Now you're 60 years old. You got the hammer in your hand. And the only people who are actually coming on board are people who are migrants. I remember I told this story. I told this story years ago when I was traveling across New York State, and I was talking about how tough it is to find labor. Mm-hmm. And one of the guys says to me, he goes, Larry, he's an entrepreneur. He goes, let me tell you my method for hiring people. He goes, I tell them that the interview's at 9:00. I open the door at 8:55. If they're there, they're hired. That's it. He opens the door 5 minutes early. If the guy is there, he's hired. That's his entire hiring program.
Yeah.
And then when I said another guy there's like, Larry, I don't care if they know anything. He goes, if they have a work ethic, I'll teach them. I just want them to want to have a work ethic. I'll teach them anything else. I don't care if they have any knowledge at all. I'm telling the story like a year later. Another guy who hears the story I'm telling goes, oh my God, Larry, it's so true. This week I had 12 hiring appointments. 6 were no-shows, 4 were late. So only 2 out of 12 actually showed up on time. That's why we're grabbing migrants.
Yeah. That's
The Gen Zs have a new thing. They have the old thing was the quiet quitting. Remember that one?
Oh yeah, remember that bullshit? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Now the new thing is showing your independence. I'm not joking.
Showing your independence.
Yes. So what they do is when they get hired, they literally, after they get hired, don't show up the first day on purpose to show their power with their boss. So now you hear them all complaining, Gen Z's complaining. I can't get a job. Their requirements are crazy. Here's the requirements now. They say entry level job, college degree, 5 to 10 years experience.
5 to 10 years for entry
Now,
level.
how can it be entry level with 5 to 10 years? Correct.
Yeah.
Right? And the whole thing is not wanting to hire Gen Z. That's how they get around it legally. Because you can't legally discriminate against Gen Z because that's ageism. You can't do that
Right,
in most
right.
states, particularly in New York State, but most states you can't do that. So since they can't do that, they just make an experience piece too high so the Gen Zs can't apply. But they make an exception. If you happen to find a Gen Z who actually show up on time, they would pick them, but most of them won't. So instead, that's how they don't hire Gen Z. That's how they get around it legally.
Wow. Um,
I'm sorry, is this too serious of a show for you?
no, 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 it's all great. I nobody listens to this show, so it's okay. It's just me and
That
you
makes it
talking.
easy.
We would do it.
It's fine.
No, this is all important. I mean, with me and my kids, I kinda have a, all parents have, like, dreams for their children, and I mean, if I know whatever my parents, had in their head about my future, I d
That didn't work
I
out.
yeah, yeah, it didn't work. It went a very different way. Um, but, like, with my kids, like, I'm the comedian, writer, and, their mother was a professional dancer at one point. As I remind people, not a stripper. My wife was the
Nope.
kind of my wife was a kind of dancer that didn't make money. It was
Got it.
an artistic, dancer.
Those are actually the best types in today's world.
They are.
They
Uh,
are, yes.
um,
Yeah, because those that make money now, they're on OF right now.
yeah, yeah. So we don't have that going yet. Well, we'll see. We'll see. She has a birthday coming up. Who knows
You
what
never
life
know.
changes.
Gotta make some cash here or there, I'm just
Yeah.
saying. The weirdest part is now when you, like, go talk to women, you have to ask if they have an OF because so many of them do. Like, you
Oh,
meet a
wow.
woman, you're talking, you're like, "Yeah, by the way, do you have an OF?" "Oh, yeah, I do." You go, "Okay, there we go, got you." So, yeah,
Wow.
even that's a common thing
Yeah.
all the time.
So
Anyway,
s
I totally yapped away. Keep going, I'm sorry.
yeah, so with our kids, like, sort of looking at the future, for them, and my whole thing is, like, I could totally see them wanting to get into the arts. And I think my
Number one thing I'll give you with your kids, and I tell my kids this all the time. I have 2 of them. Mine are older, though.
mm,
Mine are 20 and 15, or 21 and 15. So mine are a bit older than yours. I'm a bit older than you by just by a hair. In any case, what you wanna tell them to do is make sure they are creating. We
oh,
are
that's
a
a good one.
we
Yeah,
we
yeah,
are we are a people right now who are just consumers, and that's okay. We're all consumers. The question is, are you also a creator? If you're not a creator, you will find yourself simply consuming. You will be consumed by consuming.
yeah,
That's what will happen, and you won't make anything. You'll be waiting for everything to happen for you. Next thing is, you see everything that we're given, the kids are losing their own creativity, their own imagination. They don't need to. The system gives you everything, tells you what to do, how to do it, how to think, everything.
right,
It doesn't matter how they create, whether that's creating a dance, whether that's creating a music, whether that's creating a story, whether that's creating art, it does not matter. My oldest actually has a degree in art, and she is a cartoonist. So she actually creates is what she does. And for some reason, she's becoming an EMT now. But whatever, I don't care. Still, that's a good job that, again, AI can't do EMTs yet, it's direct service. So direct service is always a good thing to do. So she's an artist, and I tell her to use AI. Use AI. People in schools, particularly now, schools are still stupid as they always are. Schools are so utterly useless. They punish you for using AI, which is stupid. Everyone's gonna be using AI. If you don't use AI, you are screwing up. It is a mistake. My youngest is in school. She wants to be a writer. I gave her a ChatGPT account. She is 15 using AI to write. You have to use AI in everything you're doing. I use AI for my podcast. I use AI for everything. I use it too. You should be using AI for everything. Tell your kids to embrace AI and tell your kids to create. It does not matter what it is. It can be physical with their hands. It can be with their brain. They need to be creating. And if they're not creating, I'm upset. I remember my daughter years ago, and I've been telling my daughter this for like 15 years. I saw this coming. So when my oldest daughter was little, she wasn't creating. I didn't think she was. She was playing Minecraft, believe it or not. She's probably 11, 12. I forgot how old she was. So I went to her and I saw what she was doing. I said, "What are you doing?" "I'm playing Minecraft." I looked. She had made an entire, I'm not joking, Subway restaurant, the restaurant Subway. She
Hmm.
made one of those in Minecraft, in detailed, in Minecraft, and I was like, "I'm good, leave it alone." I left her alone because she was creating.
Right.
That's all I cared about. I didn't care whether she was using Minecraft, whether she was drawing on a piece of paper, whether she was, creating a card out of cardboard. I don't care, right? Whatever. Create. If your kids are creating, you'll be okay. If they're just consuming, they're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great way to put it, and like I was saying, their parent mom and dad are, kinda artsy fartsy.
Yeah.
So, if they wanna go the route of the arts, I think, having a nice foundation of the trades, unless, of course, they wanna go into well, even if they wanna go into, like, medical or something like that. I'm gonna write a
Even medical, you
well
don't
well
have AI and create. Doesn't change.
well well, yeah, I'm gonna call it, Flashdance parenting. The
Oh,
Flashdance guy. So it's like, you wanna be a dancer? Be a welder too. You're a welder and a dancer. You got, 2 skills where you're creating and you're doing stuff.
my welders, by the way, in New York State, they start 70K.
Yeah,
You are 18, 19 years old, making 70K with no debt. You are doing just fine.
yeah.
You are doing just fine. No problem at all. So, yes, the flash dance welder is a good idea. Do
I'm gonna
that.
c
Yes.
I think there's an op-ed there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna pitch that around, the Flashdance,
Love
career path.
Well, my daughter is an EMT and an artist. She's both. I'm with you. I
Nice.
got my daughter out of college in 2 years, right? And then I'll tell you a story.
You just
My
stopped
dau
paying. You just
No,
no.
the reverse, actually. This is funny. My daughter, her last year was a COVID year, was the lockdown year, and we're in New York City. So last year, I said, "Don't go to don't go to high school." "You what?" I said, "Don't go to school. Stop. Just don't even show up in high school." She's like, "What? Don't." It's New York City. They're gonna pass you. That's how that works, right? They don't care. New York City is a machine. Our kids can't read. I'm not even joking. I wish that was true. My mayor 2 years ago said this proudly, "We're gonna start teaching our kids to read." I'm not making that up. He actually
Wait
said that.
wait, what did he say?
"We're gonna
Again?
start teaching our kids to read." That's what he said, and I'm thinking to
Was
myself,
this the great, Adams?
this was Adams. He literally I'm not making this up. He
I
literally
think
said
it's
that.
important for children to read, and we're
New
gonna teach them
Yorkers.
how to New Yorkers how to read.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's what he said, and I was like, "Oh, well, good. Good for you. You finally figured this one out. I love it. I figured it out." So I told my daughter, "Don't go to school," and she's like, "What?" I said, "They're gonna pass you. It doesn't matter." So what I did was I put her into college because during the lockdowns, all college was remote anyway. So
right.
I put her directly into college. People said, "How'd you get into college?" I wrote the college a check. That's how that works. So the college took her, of course, because that's what they care about. She never took an SAT, never took an ACT, nothing. I said, "Can we put her into college now?" They went, "Do you have money?" I said, "Yes." They put her into college. So that was it. So she started going to college at
Which college was it?
SCAD. She went to SCAD,
What is
the
that?
Savannah College of Art and Design. It's one of the best art and design schools in the country. Top 3. It's always in top 3. Sometimes top 1, top 3. RIT is one of them, and is it some California college is another one. It's 3 of them. It's one of the top 3 always. So she started going there that year. So she went 1 year of college at SCAD while she was in high school officially. They, of course, passed her in high school because, of course, it's New York. They gave her the degree. She got her thing. And then I had her take, CLEP tests to CLEP out of classes, right? CLEP tests so you can actually get the college, um, credits without having to go to college because college is useless. So you get the credits without that and some summer courses. So she graduated in 2 years. She's only 21. She has a full bachelor's degree, and she's now working on her EMT degree. She'll have the end of this month. So she's already taken care of her stuff already. So I got her out of college at 20. She had a college degree at 20 years old. Why? Because college is useless. Why would I spend 4 years in college? The average kid nowadays, it takes 6 years to graduate college if they even graduate. If you're a male, you're probably not gonna graduate. So you go 6 figures in debt, 5 figures in debt to not get a degree or get a useless degree, or you get a degree in something that means nothing, and you're basically a barista here in New York. You're a barista in New York City, and you're $100,000 in debt and wonder why the system has failed you. I have an idea. Don't go to college unless you have a plan. It's useless.
Yeah, yeah, having a plan is so
It's
important.
key.
And it's like you said too, when those numbers are coming out like, oh, over the people who graduate from college make, X amount over their lives versus people who didn't. Yeah, when you are talking about people in their 60s or 70s, Yeah, duh, but
Yes.
the whole prospect, like, the thing that gets me, because we were hearing, so much about, like, cancel student loan debt and all that
Yep.
for years and years and years and years, right? So, for me, it was just the idea of, "Hold on a second, right now you have a kid who has parents
Yep.
who is about to, is a year off from applying to colleges, and there's all this information about how bad student loan debt is, and yet that kid, and with his parents' help, is still going to take out a massive, loan, study something that there's no guarantee he's gonna get a job from it.
None.
No, he's gonna have no way to pay back that loan.
Correct.
He will need to, basically, try to get student loan cancellation, and we're saying that's okay. It's like, no, no, hold on a second. There's gotta, like, even if you were going to quote unquote cancel student loan debt, there's gotta be a cutoff where it's like, listen, dude, like, if you if you've taken out a loan in the last 5 years, you're fucked, because there's absolutely no reason that anybody would do that.
There's 3 things though. Number 1, it's a complex. It's a student
It's
industrial
another,
complex.
yet another
It
complex.
is. Well, remember what they did. Biden, when he wrote that law, passed the law. Oh, no, he helped write the law that actually made sure that you cannot cancel student loan debt even through bankruptcy. So you're paying. I don't care you go bankrupt or not, you're paying, number 1. Number 2, the federal government gives money to schools, and there are many reasons why. One of those reasons why is their college placement rate. So the higher your college placement rate, the more money you get. So every school says, go to college. Why? Because I get paid if you go to college. So they made the incentive, as you mentioned incentives earlier, the incentive is to push kids into colleges. But the worst part is there's no incentive for the college. What I mean by that? What does a college have to do for you? Nothing. You're
Right.
not the customer. The customer is the bank or usually the federal government. About 90% of all loans are directly from the government, not from a bank. So that means that's the customer. You're in the way. So please just do your 4 years and get out. Here's your sheet of paper that you says goodbye. But what if we change the system? We're talking now finally about all the endowments that all these colleges have. They have tons of cash. Instead, allow them to take that endowment and allow them to become their own banks. What do I mean by that? If when I bought my first car back in the day, back in the 80s, yes, I'm old. When I bought my first car, you didn't go to you didn't get your loan through the car dealership. You had to get the VIN number, go to a bank.
Right.
The bank then gave you a check, and you gave the check to the car dealership, and you bought your car with a check. The car dealership didn't finance it. Now, if you buy a Honda or a Ford, you go to Ford Finance Corporation or Honda Finance Corporation. They finance it themselves. Let the colleges finance the debt themselves. They have the endowment to do so. Allow them to do so.
Yeah,
What does that mean?
they're making an investment in this student,
Yes,
and the student's making an investment in their future. They're working
correct.
together, yeah.
And then because it's a private loan, they can just go bankrupt. Now, all of a sudden, the college has to go, "Oh, shit, that means I gotta teach them something that's worth something?"
Right.
Yes. That
Yeah,
means now to make sure they get a job? Yes, and here's the problem. Most colleges can't do that.
of course not.
And why would you when you have AI and a YouTube? You don't even need college anymore. So
Yeah,
why would you? All college should be is a guided, tour and a networking event. That's what college should be now. That is the future of college, if it will even exist anymore, right? That's the future eventually, once they figure it out. The problem is college will remain because government props it up. When government stops propping it up, it will be a way of guiding you through things. Most of it will be AI, but it'll guide you through things. It'll give you some credentialing, and it'll be a networking event, which is valuable. And that's not $100,000. That's like 10 grand, right? That's not $100,000 anymore. And when they have to finance it, they can afford it because if for 10 grand and a couple of years, you can probably get a decent job and pay back the 10 grand. So they can actually make it work. And if eventually college will work, but it'll be about 10 to 20 years before that happens, only because government will keep propping it up because it's industrial complex. Government goes out of its way to make sure things do not advance. That's their goal. They want to keep things the way they are because that's where the cash is.
yeah. Well, something that I noticed, so I do this, like, every few years. One of the things that I enjoyed when I was in graduate school, I went to City College I got my MFA there, and I got to teach a class in creative writing to undergrads. And I really enjoy I like teaching, creative writing, whether it's fiction writing, screenwriting, or what have you. So every now and then, like, I'll look at, like, job openings at schools, and it's like, "Oh, if you're willing to, go to, Nebraska or Massachusetts, there's, like, this opening for a creative writing instructor at this school." And then you see how much they're paying, like like a credit, and it's like, "Ooh, it's so low." It doesn't make any sense. But it's like, "Wait a minute, I've been out of school, like, 15 years, close to, and the pay is here." And it's stayed the same, but yet spending and tuition, all that has gone up, considerably. So it doesn't even make any sense. It wouldn't make sense for me to teach in a college anyway, because it
But
doesn't make
again,
any
but they
money.
don't care,
They don't
right?
give a
They
shit. Yeah.
they don't care. Again, they don't even care if you're good at what you do. Like, I've taught at a couple of good schools, but I taught at the schools just so I can have 'em on my resume. I don't mean to be cruel
Right,
about
right.
that, right? But not because
Yeah,
I want the money. Like, I have taught at the graduate level of Yale and Columbia. Why? So I can say that on your podcast and feel like I'm better than you. That's
right.
the reason why I say that. Not because I made me money or that I was a great instructor or that all of a sudden great things happen. No, it's just to be a nice thing on your resume. So I like the fact that you've taught. That means, oh, okay, it's a cool thing to put on your resume. And
Right.
people are so impressed by people being teachers. It still does work. It's a good
Yeah.
resume builder, but there isn't much actual value in it. I agree with you.
Yeah, and, yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine. I mean, if I would teaching independently, like, I've taught, like,
Why
comedy,
wouldn't you?
classes too. Exactly. It's like, there's more money there. I get to make my own schedule. I don't have to, I'm not beholden to,
Dude, you hold on. You can see this thing that says Neo Sage here, right?
I
See
do.
that?
I see
Okay,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's my business. Here's the cup that shows you I've got that's my actual business. What do? I'm a teacher and a trainer on my own. I teach executives.
He
It's what I
gets
do for a living.
merch. He's got the
That's
merch.
I got merch to prove it. See, absolutely, yes. That's how I pay my bills. I pay my bills through being a consultant, which is a teacher trainer. So, yes.
Mm.
Now I can't be a therapist because in New York State, you have to have a license to be a therapist. So I can do, like, couples work. I can't do couples therapy because that would be illegal. I don't do that, but I can do couples work. I can do things like trauma work, but I can't do therapy because that would be illegal, Lou, so I would never do that. But I could do work for that kind of stuff, absolutely. And I just do it because people want to pay me to do it because 'cause I'm good at it. And that's why people know who I am, so they pay me to do it. I've taught in many classes. I've taught in classrooms. I taught for New York City, believe it or not. And
Mm.
just yeah, all the time. I've taught many state agencies. So, whatever. It's all good. You can do it on your own and make cash still. You can
Yeah.
make cash still.
If you're out there and you're having a traumatic experience that you don't wanna put your pants on because 'cause you're 3, then I know the guy that you need to talk to,
Yep.
about that. Who'll help you out. And that's something AI is not gonna help you with. Uh,
Well, eventually it will because eventually I will have my own trained AI that you can then ask because 'cause it'll be like me.
you
So
know
it'll
what?
be
Yeah,
the Larry AI that you can actually ask a question like that, who will give you what I just told you. Eventually it'll be true. The question is, can I make that to a point where it's like, join the Larry AI thing for $5 a month, and
I
you
could
can ask the Larry chatbot whatever you want for $5 a month.
Larry, I could totally hear, like, I could if I had one of those, like, animatronic, whatever, like, robots that they have, I can totally hear your voice coming out of it. And
100%.
instead of you, like, taking, direction, like, "Hey, go get me blah, blah, blah," you'd come back with many questions about it. Like,
Correct.
yeah.
Yes. Lou, do you really need that right now?
And it'd be like, "Oh god, I gotta get rid of this fucking robot, man.
This
I gotta get
robot never does what I tell
Holy
him to
shit,
do. God damn
this
it.
Neo Sage robot's gotta get the fuck out of here."
Yes,
Um,
why'd I buy him? That was so stupid. Yes.
on the AI front, as a creative, I guess it's something that, I have some apprehension there. But
Yep,
I've been using Grok in particular,
yep.
and Grok has been really helpful. Like, I had blood work done, around my birthday, and I was looking at, the different levels, and I was putting, like, "Oh, what does, this level of LDL cholesterol mean, blah, blah, blah." And Grok made it, like, really helped me be able to read my test results to the point where I was able to have a good conversation with my doctor about everything. So I felt like, as a, as a tool, I mean, the same way that, you know, if you were doing research, there was a time where you had to go to the library, you had to go through the Rolodex.
Yep.
Then now it's, if you have some research you want to do, you go into Google or LexisNexis and all that. I think
Google
definitely on the
searches are down.
are they? Are more people
Yes,
using that?
Google searches are
Makes
down
sense.
because they're not using Google anymore. They're
That makes a
using
lot of sense. Yeah.
ChatGPT or they're using Grok or whatever is the other. It's
Yeah.
like 4 of them, or I think them
Yeah.
the big ones. I use ChatGPT and Grok. I'm with you. I use those 2. But Google searches are down. I don't search Google as much as I used to. I mean, I still
Yeah.
do, but I don't. And the other thing I search often, which is also is YouTube. YouTube is the second largest. The largest database is Google search engine besides Google. And the second one is YouTube, owned by Google.
Mhm.
We don't have monopolies. But anyway, so YouTube searches are up, Google searches are down, and Grok is high because what happens is you go into a Grok or a ChatGPT, and then they give you the idea for you to go into YouTube to watch a video on it.
Yeah.
That's what people are doing. They're going into ChatGPT or to Grok, like to your point, asking a question, get some information. Oh, that's interesting. I want to see someone talk about it. So now I go to YouTube and I put the words in that Grok or ChatGPT told me, and then I watch a video on it. So why do I need a doctor now? I mean, I need a doctor, but you know why, right? I don't need to
Yeah.
go through everything like that. So did it convince you to go on the ketogenic diet?
No, keto isn't good for me and what I have
And
going
it
on.
failed because
Yeah,
keto
that's
was magic.
huh? Keto is magic. Larry Sharpe, ladies and gentlemen, who is who is not
Keto was
licensed.
magic.
He is not licensed to give diet or nutrition.
Nope.
No, for me, no,
I didn't say it worked. I said it's magic,
it is
which
magic.
means it's religion. So
Yeah.
that means it's First Amendment rights. I don't have to be licensed.
That's right.
Keto is magic.
Yeah. Well, I happen to have a very a high lipoprotein A, which leaves me
I
susceptible
hate when you have
to.
that.
Yeah, yeah. So I need to monitor monitor my diet and stuff in a different way. Well, I mean, we are getting to the point. I mean, we are basically there, where on the nutrition front and all that, where you know where everyone is going to be able to have a tailored, diet and supplement regimen and all that, which is great because
Yep.
the whole one size fits all doesn't work anywhere really. The whole one size for anything, when it comes to individuals and
There's one
what they need.
exception, one only.
Hit me.
Keto is magic.
There we go. Larry's just got his avocados and his steaks and his
Good,
butter
I'm
and just
done,
going
baby.
down,
I'm good. I'm good.
I
Keto is
tell
magic.
I'll tell you what, I mean, the days when I was having there were days when I was having, like, in the morning, I was having, like, a pound of ground beef with, like,
Look at you go.
this amazing rub, like, this pork rub on it, and then 3 or 4 eggs and,
Oh, you're making me hungry.
feta cheese and just,
Oh,
and then hot honey just on top. My god, it was delicious. It was fantastic, and then later that day, I would also have, like, a fucking 12-ounce ribeye, and all that. It's one of the perks of having a
magic. As
yeah,
I said,
magic.
magic. It's
Delicious,
magic.
delicious,
Yes.
delicious magic.
Delicious magic. It's
Well
true. Yes, it
well,
is.
talking a little bit about about magic, I wonder what you think of
You
what to
didn't
talk
think
to
you'd
you
be
about.
speaking about magic with me, did you?
I
You didn't
know.
think that.
Well, speaking about magic, like, so there's a magician who's, running for mayor, he's a socialist, a democratic, socialist guy.
Mamdani.
What's his name?
Mamdani.
And how's he doing? Is he
I had him on my show. I know him. He's my state assemblyman.
you had him on your show? How did that go?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, fine. He's a democratic socialist. He's actually the thing that I disagree with his politics, right? I'm a
Yeah.
libertarian. I
Yeah.
obviously agree with his politics. However, there's something that why people like him, and people do like him. He's not gonna win. Cuomo's our next governor, is our next mayor.
Okay.
Guaranteed that's gonna happen. However, to be forward, to give the man credit where credit is due, he's a true believer. Like, you find people like and for those of you who don't know New York politics, when Bill de Blasio was our mayor, he was one of our worst mayors ever. Also, at the same time, Andrew Cuomo was a governor. They didn't get along at all. And you wonder, why wouldn't they get along? They're both Democrats, right? They're both leftists, right? No. Cuomo is not really a Democrat. I mean, by name he is, but he's a Cuomoist. He
Mm.
is whatever it would take to be in charge. He'd be a libertarian tomorrow, Republican tomorrow. He doesn't care. He's not a true believer. He's whatever it would take to win. He doesn't care. He's a Democrat because that's the system that gets him in charge. De Blasio was a true believer. He was an actual socialist. He thought, look, Lou, just one more gulag and we
Right.
will have the socialist utopia I've been telling you for these past 20 years. He was a total believer. Mamdani is also a true believer. He honestly thinks he's helping you. He's not trying to harm. He's not like a selfish guy trying to wreck things. I mean, his policies would absolutely wreck things, but that's not what he believes. He's doing it because he believes it's real. That's what I will give him. He cares about the city. He just thinks his ideas of socialism are gonna make things right. He is trying to fix things. That part I like. He is utterly wrong in what he wants to do, though. His ideas are not going to work at all. He just wants more centralized control, more government control. And for those of you who are listening who are like, "Well, Larry, is that always bad?" Here's what I'm gonna tell you. New
Yes.
York State is the most unionized state. New York, other than Hawaii, is a little bit better than us in certain areas, but most unionized state. It controls all of our medical issues. Over 50% of New Yorkers are on either Medicaid or Medicare. All hospitals are run by New York State. Our school system run by New York State. All of our new infrastructure built by New York State. All of our new privatized things in New York State all happen because of government intervention. That's why they happen. Private without government does not happen. All infrastructure built by New York State. We have the worst wealth gap in the entire country. The worst. We have one of the worst homelessness problems in the entire country. All people are leaving our state by the most than every other state. We are the worst state in every way you could measure. So this stuff doesn't work. We are the poster child of more and more government centralized control, and people are leaving and we're failing. We spend the most money on school, government runs schools, most than any of the state. We spend over $35,000 per kid in New York State, more than any other
A
state.
year? A
A
year.
year, 1 year. 30 yes, over 35,000 every single year. Our budget is over $220 billion. I think it's like 235 now $1 billion. Our budget is twice Florida's, and Florida has more people than us. That's how much money we spend. We spend more money than anybody per capita. We have the largest budget per capita. California has a higher budget, but they have double the people. So per capita, the highest budget in the entire country. Most government spending in the entire country. And more people leave New York State by both percentage and overall than any other state. People are walking away left and right. New York State lost over $20 billion due to migration, just migration, and that's IRS numbers, not my numbers, IRS numbers. So I know people like the idea. I know it feels good when Mamdani says cool things, and I know Mamdani does care. It's true, he does care. He wants to fix things. He's just wrong, and this idea is wrong. The only way to save New York is not by more government spending.
Yeah. And what's there was a recent thing that came out. I guess he spent his wedding in Dubai or something like that. Which
Oh, is that
uh,
true? I didn't even know that.
yeah, well, apparently it was like I don't know if it was originally on like his Instagram or something like that. Just this
Yeah,
beautiful spread.
but he is from like he's like an Indian guy who was like born in Kenya or something
South
like
Africa,
that.
I think. Yeah, like
There we go, something like that.
there's footage of him speaking with like a South African accent. That I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
It was an interesting code switch.
Yeah.
Um,
So no, he is like something like that. So he some kind of mix like that. So he's like been around the world or something like that. So yeah, he's got an odd background. He's not a bad guy. He's just wrong. Just to be very focused. Not a bad guy. I mean, he actually shows up in the neighborhood sometimes, right? A lot of the people who are hardcore socialists, they actually sometimes do the work. Like when AOC is my congressperson.
right.
I literally live in the belly of the beast, right? She's my congressperson, and I recently saw her in the neighborhood finally. I mean, when she first started running for office back in 2018, was it? She literally came to our door. She knocked on doors. She was hustling. Then she went, "I've won now. Thank you, peasants." And she went away, and that was it. Now she's worried and she's coming back again, which is, not so bad. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, when you talked about him being like a true believer, remind me of Thomas Massey was talking about how he prefers to deal with people who are ideologues versus either party players or partisans. He's like
correct,
he's like with an ideologue, I know where you stand on something, so I'm able to.
correct.
Meanwhile, a partisan, if they're just going to go with their party line, then you can't really deal with them because you don't know how they're gonna go.
Well, that's the other piece is, in theory, could someone like a Mamdani be turned? Yes, in theory, they could be, right? Because they actually want to help. And the example I'll give you, believe it or not, is Thomas Sowell. Thomas Sowell used to be a Marxist.
Yeah, yeah.
So why did he change? Was he, like, dumb back then? No. Thomas Sowell has always been brilliant. But with the information and experience that he had when he was younger, Marxism made sense to him. Then he met, heavy hitters, right? He met a bunch of people who were libertarians, and then he worked for the government. That was new experience and new knowledge, right? And with that, he changed his mind. And now he's one of the best libertarian thinkers we have in the entire country. So Mamdani's a true believer. If he could be shown the way, he could be turned. The problem is no one's showing him the way, and it will be a lot of work to show him the way to
Oh,
actually make it work.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I think one way I would recommend is, if one of your campaign promises is to effectively have government run bodegas and supermarkets, it would be a really good idea for you to actually have run one yourself, or be a part of a co-op, and show some success on that front. Because me just even like, look, my dad has my family has a successful butcher shop. I don't think I can run a successful butcher shop on my own just because my family did it. Um,
Well, I'll go one step further. Do you think your dad, when he was running a successful butcher shop, would have been, what the right answer is? A government-run competitor that
oh,
doesn't have to deal with any of the market pressures that I do.
well, that's what
I
my
think
dad.
that'll be a good idea.
Well, so Larry, my dad butcher shop in Spanish Harlem in the 80s and 90s, and then what did the city do? The city started funding La Marqueta, which
Yes.
was under was it the overpass? That's like where I think it's like the train line for like the I don't not Amtrak, um, fuck, whatever, I forget what it is, but right in their neighborhood, subsidizing this market,
Yep.
and my dad had to compete with that.
Yep.
And
And
it's
that's literally Mom Danny's idea.
yeah, yeah, price out this fucking immigrant.
Correct.
Yeah,
That's his idea.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Price out local people. That's his
yeah,
answer.
yeah,
Yes. That'll solve it, right? Let's make sure no one has business. That'll teach you.
yeah.
That's how that works. Yeah. So yeah, no. The guy's not a bad guy. He's just wrong. To be forward with you, but he's not a bad guy. I mean, I met him more than once. He's not a bad guy. And if anyone cares, if you put in Mom Donnie Larry Sharpe, you can see my interview I did with him. I was very nice to him. I wasn't mean. I pushed him on some questions, but I wasn't mean to him.
Well, yeah, I give you a lot of credit too. I mean, you have a lot of people with differing points of view on your show, and you always treat them respectfully. And
Well, because look, the reality of it is, I can't turn you if I can't talk to you.
that's right.
Right. That's number one. And the second thing is,
This is how Larry talks to lesbians too. He's like, "Listen, baby, I can't turn you
you
unless I."
I've tried, and, and particularly when I was a younger man, that was one of my goals, and I don't know if it's true, if she really was one or not, but man, I wanna believe it because it did feel good to think I turned one.
Right. Well, Larry, if there's anybody out there who's listening, I think you've turned them on to something with your neo sageism.
I
Um,
have, I've turned them.
so, Larry, thank you so much for being part of this broadcast. I have to go to the bathroom so bad.
That's why you all fidgety. I was wondering why you're so
Yeah, dude,
fidgety.
I'm gonna shit my pants
Okay.
out of joy and all that. But we'll talk soon, guys. Follow Larry. Listen to the Sharp Way. Larry's great, as you just heard over the past hour.